Can you be sued for wholesaling real estate? Yes, but only if you're being stupid. What's up, guys? Zach Ginn here, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you exactly if you can get sued for wholesaling real estate, can you be sued, and most importantly, how to avoid getting sued in wholesaling real estate. And honestly, it's really simple not to get sued in wholesaling. If you do something stupid, bad, fraudulent, criminal, of course you're going to get sued for doing something bad. But at the end of the day, there's three main reasons why a wholesaler could theoretically be sued. And I'm going to show you exactly how to avoid this so you're fine in your real estate wholesaling business. What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here. I've done over 1,000 real estate wholesaling deals, and I've been on the end of real estate wholesaling lawsuits. I've actually sued people before in real estate wholesaling and threatened tons of lawsuits. And at the end of the day here, I'm going to show you exactly why most people get sued and how you can avoid them in the best way possible. But before we get into it, do me a big favor and smash that like button and subscribe, and let's break everything down. So the first thing you got to understand is I'm not a lawyer, CPA, financial advisor. This is not law advice. This is not legal advice. I'm not an attorney. I'm none of these things. I'm just going to give you a real estate wholesaler's perspective on being sued, lawsuits, and everything like that for wholesaling real estate so you can have a general education and understanding. Of course, if somebody threatens to sue you, somebody serves you or anything like that, please seek an actual law counsel and an attorney. I am none of these things, so I cannot tell you this is law advice. Please seek professional counsel. So let's break down exactly if you can get sued for wholesaling. And this is a weird question because there's a lot of answers to this. But at the end of the day, you have to understand if you're a beginner in real estate or if you're a beginner on lawsuits or anything like that, you can basically be sued for anything. If you look at me the wrong way or if you give me a mean face at the gym, I technically can just do a lawsuit, right? It only takes an attorney to think there's a lawsuit in place, and most of them do, and they will go and try to sue you. It could be a bad claim. It can be a terrible one. It can be a slap lawsuit, right? But really, anyone can sue you for basically any reason. Many people get sued for very bad claims, and the problem is you always have to answer a lawsuit. So the real question is, if in general, I can give you this advice as a wholesaler, if you just do the right thing, you're not going to get sued. Like, most likely you're not going to get sued. The problem is when you do the wrong thing, you could legally be fined, but if it is the wrong thing, but it's legal, you technically can get sued too. Let me explain some of that, how that works. So there's three main reasons why wholesalers get sued. And one of them is criminal, right? Like, not criminal, but sometimes criminal. You know, there's only one way you get arrested for wholesaling real estate, and we'll break that down too. And like two other ways you mainly get sued. So let's break down probably the most common reason people get sued in real estate wholesaling. And this is, again, no legal terms. I'm not a legal scholar or anything like that, but this is quote unquote slandering title. This is probably the most common reason I could say most wholesalers get sued if you slander title. And basically, what is slandering title? Slandering title is basically when you cloud the title of somebody's deed. And this, theoretically, you most likely get sued for it. If you do it in a very, very bad intention, you could get arrested for it if you do it the wrong way. These are people's deeds at stake. But how this basically happens is there is legal protections for wholesalers, but if you do it the wrong way, you get in trouble. So what I mean by this, so let's say I lock up, let me give you an example actually. So I had a deal locked up. I was going to make about $70,000 on this assignment fee. I get the property locked up with the seller. Next day, an older wholesaler comes by and actually tries to lock up the deal with the seller. She tells the seller that I'm actually a fraud. I don't know what I'm talking about. I was 20 years old at the time, and like I'm all these terrible things. He goes and locks up a contract the day after I get a deal locked up. And what he does, he actually gets the earnest money down. He actually writes an affidavit of equitable interest and basically brings out to the court on public record that he has an equitable interest. He's the only one who has a contract. He actually fraudulently said he is the only person who has the thing under contract. He has the earnest money, and he's the only person that can close, and no one else can close. Like, very, very bad, because I actually locked up the deal. And the seller knew this too. Now, I could technically sue the seller. I basically called up that wholesaler that was being bad, and I basically told him, like, hey, I put this property under contract. He said, well, you know, your earnest money is not enough, and you're just a kid, and you don't have enough money, and, you know, I know who you are. You know, you're not going to buy this property. you're a fraud. I deal with kids like you all the day. I'm going to stomp you. He told me that. So he thought, because I didn't have enough money to sue him, that he can just do whatever he wants. And that's how a lot of bad, ill-mentioned people are. I technically could try to sue him to get my $70,000 deal, but he thinks I didn't have the $2,000 for a lawyer to get it done. Hence, I got a lawyer, and we threatened to sue the guy. He knew he was in the wrong the entire time. He's actually slandering the title because I couldn't close on the deal, and I threatened to sue him, and he learned I was a big boy in this business, and he relinquished it. I could have sued him for a lot of money. Never did. Quote unquote, did the right thing. I always believe in karma. So that is one thing. So what happens there is an affidavit of equitable interest is put on there. He put that on there so I wouldn't lock up the deal or try to close on the deal. But some wholesalers do this where if they lock up the real estate contract, sometimes in this situation, what they do is that they'll lock up the deal. They'll put an affidavit of equitable interest on there, basically stating publicly that, hey, I actually have the property under contract right now, and this is my real estate wholesaling deal, which is fine. This is my deal. I have it locked up. And then if that seller decides to sell to somebody else, that person can't actually sell the property. Or worst case scenario, I sign the deal with the seller. And guess what? If the seller decides to sell it with a realtor and try to, you know what, Zach, your deal's too low. I have my affidavit of equitable interest here, basically stating if they put the property under contract and the seller tries to get out of the deal, guess what? They can't sell the deal because I've clouded the title. I've stopped that title from being done because I wrote the contract initially and I have the right to this deal. That's good for me. It protects me. The problem is when you fraudulently slander the title. So technically you're affecting the title when you have the property under contract. You only usually get sued if you cloud the title in a wrong way. So if I don't have an earnest money, if I actually never got a property under contract and I just publicly put that on there so the person can't sell the house without dealing with me, obviously that's wrong and you're going to get sued for doing that. So if you have an affidavit of equitable interest, I got asked the other day, it's like, Zach, there's a husband-wife and the husband signed the contract, but the wife doesn't want to sell and the wife never signed the contract. Can I do an affidavit of equitable interest? That is how you get sued because both parties didn't agree to it. And it's honestly not the right thing. They're getting out of the deal. It's fine to a point. So if you do the right thing, you're not going to get sued. And so that's slandering title. Please look it up and look up the laws and how all that works, but don't slander the title. Number 2 here is just basically fraud. Like the fraud is a very, very broad definition, but if you lie to a seller, if you're deceiving a seller, if you're doing elder abuse or elder financial abuse, like if there's a 90-year-old seller and their house is worth $500,000 and you lock up the deal for $20,000 and, maybe they're senile and you just try to lock it up for $20,000 and, make $400,000 on an assignment fee. Obviously that's very fraudulent and bad. Like I think we can all agree to that. That's not good. That is not in the seller's best interest. And pretty much they're too old to really make that decision themselves to a point. And maybe they're in a nursing home or something. That is fraudulent. That's how you get sued. That's how you can sometimes get arrested, and that's how you get in a lot of trouble. I know wholesalers that have gone to jail because they've actually had like an older seller. They forged their signature on a contract and tried to close on it. That's fraud. You were literally signing a contract, and then you were faking their signature. That's fraud. Don't do that. That is terrible. It's unbelievable the amount of people that do this. Don't be doing that, okay? It's actually insane the way that works. So don't be fraudulent. Tell the truth to your sellers and always be in their best interest, and you're going to be fine. The last one here is just breaking the law with your marketing. This is a pretty general one of being sued on, but that you could. So if you market the contract in a state where you can't publicly market, so if you publicly act like you own the property and you put it on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist in Oklahoma, Nebraska, you might get sued, and that's not going to be good. Basically, those are pretty much the states that you can't really do that in. Every other state, you're pretty much fine. If you wholesale in Illinois, you can get technically sued. There's people that wholesale in Illinois right now that don't care. They don't get sued, nothing wrong, but theoretically you get sued there. But the biggest problem I see a lot of people get, quote unquote, threatened to sue on is when they violate TCPA law. What is TCPA law? TCPA law is basically the Telephone Communication Protections Act of 1992. There's certain laws you have to follow when you're doing telemarketing, not even wholesaling. So if I know the law, you can't actually telemarket before 8 a.m. or you can't cold call after 9 p.m. with the caller you're calling. Pretty decent laws. Like if you do the right thing, like don't be cold calling during those times. Like do from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. You're pretty much fine, right? If you use like an auto dialer, you can't be good. Now, auto dialer is a weird way that they kind of answer that, like a robot caller type thing. If you use like a ZachDialer.com, if you use like ZachData.com for your SMS text blasting, those are actually technically TCPA compliant, so you're fine with that one. If you use something that's not TCPA compliant or said that is to be TCPA compliant, it's not good. That's why when I recommend a service to you, it's a service I use, and I always follow the law when I do my marketing. So that's why when I recommend a service, I say that so you use a service that is actually compliant and good to go. So really, when you look at everything, what is the solution here on not to get sued? Just do the right thing, So technically, legally, right? It is legal for you to follow up technically with somebody 100 times. But if someone tells you, hey, please don't ever contact me again, and you keep cold calling them every single day, 4 times a day for a year straight, and they sue you for harassment, maybe you could win the case, but like it's not the right thing to do. And sometimes a judge, even if it's legal per se, you're going to get sued. So just get educated, guys, to a point. You can get sued by still being legally in the right or morally in the right. But if you do the right thing, most likely you're not going to get sued. So if someone threatens you with a lawsuit for text blasting them, if you're using a really good text blasting service, if someone threatens to sue you, or I know some people that say, you're violating TCPA law because I'm on the do not call list and you cold called me, give me $5,000 and I won't sue you. Those people are just sharks. They actually have automated ones like that. I see a lot of TikTok people showing you how to make these little letters. The reason they do is they're actually not going to sue you. They send that to 100 of them. They get like 3 people paying them. If someone threatens to sue you, don't talk to them. Don't answer them. Don't text them. Don't call them. Don't have a conversation with them when someone threatens to sue you. You have to be quiet, get a lawyer, get an attorney, and basically do what they say. Because if someone threatens a lawsuit, never answer them. I've actually gotten, it's funny to say here, 4 gurus have threatened to sue me. And what do you think? I've stopped communicating with them. They've all threatened to sue me, and I just don't talk to them because usually when someone threatens to sue you, they're not going to sue you. So that's the law when someone threatens to sue you. I've got threatened to sue all the times. If you ignore them, unless they actually file a lawsuit with you and you speak to an attorney or lawyer, you're going to be legally fine and protected. So guys, at basically the end of everything, do the right thing. Get educated. That's why I recommend you go to freewholesaling.com and get educated on the entire wholesaling real estate process, and you'll be fine. And just understand how wholesaling works, doing the right thing, and actually do it. If you go to freewholesaling.com and learn the way I market, the way I teach wholesaling real estate, you'll be fine. You do the right thing by learning at freewholesaling.com, and you do what I say, you're pretty much not going to get sued if you do the right thing. So guys, I appreciate it. Smash the like button and subscribe. Go to freewholesaling.com, and I'll see you guys soon. Have a blessed one.